Hello everybody, I hope you're ready to make yourself comfortable in the house of the Wed, as it is Wednesday, which means there is some horrible horror content coming straight to a screen near you, and it's actually on there right now because this is what this series is. So hello, welcome, this is House of the Wed, which is the horror series that you decide what you want to see on. Now, this week I've dug my horrible claw hand into the comments and plucked out one by the lovely Cyborg Charlotte, so thank you very much. And it's about horrible video game decisions that you are responsible for. I am just clearing myself of blame here. It's all you, so you should feel really bad and horrible. Sorry, what are you gonna do? Now, this kind of veers away from straight horror games and into horrible moments in normal video games as well. If that is what you want to see, shaking my fingers. If that is what you want to see, then please let me know in the comments. But if you want pure, mainline, inject the adrenaline, horror, video game, pure content instead, you want just pure horror video games, then let me know that as well, because this is your series. You let me know what you want to see. If you want a bit of everything with a nasty dark twist on it, then that is fine. I'm more than happy to do that. If you want pure horror games and that as the mainline thing we do, then let me know that as well and we'll sort it out. This week though, horrible decisions, really nasty decisions that you caused because you're horrible people. So shall we dive into those then, shall we? Shall we go look at what you've done, what you chose to do, what you managed to conjure up in these poor video games that just wanted to treat you nice and give you nice entertaining time, shall we? Horrible. I'm Ash, this is WhatCulture Gaming, you are in the House of the Wed, and these are 10 horrifying video game moments you are responsible for.
10. Killing Frank Carlson, Fallout 2. The first, but certainly not the last time the Fallout series will feature on this list, Fallout 2 is a game loaded to the brim with depravity and villainy of the highest order. The first titles in the series really capture the nefariousness of a world where ethics are optional and self-preservation is the #1 priority. And that is seen perfectly in the Fallout 2 mission, where the Chosen One is tasked with assassinating the new California Republic's Vice President, Frank Carlson. Now, you may say that killing in cold blood is pretty par for the course for the Fallout series, and this isn't really that out of the ordinary. And on the surface, you would be correct. But it is the manner in which you are able to kill Carlson that is truly evil. If the player chooses to, they can plant a bomb on Carlson's young son, then instruct him to run towards his father, killing them both. The death of Carlson is one thing, but going through with this method, oof, hope you like pixelated giblets of child-murdering guilt. 9. No Russian, Modern Warfare 2. One of the most controversial missions in the history of gaming, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2's No Russian prompted worldwide outrage for its inclusion in the popular franchise. The player takes control of a CIA agent attempting to gain the trust of a Russian terrorist cell by committing mass murder on innocent civilians in a Russian airport. One of the most graphic depictions of realistic terrorism committed by the player in any mainstream title. Mowing down helpless people in No Russian is about as villainous as a player is going to get in any Call of Duty game. Completing the level is entirely optional, as the game has a prompt to avoid the graphic scenes should the player choose to. The player can also just follow their accomplices through the mission without even firing a shot. But just for the fact that you can choose to take part in a massacre against innocents makes No Russian more than worthy of a spot on this list. 8. Golden Butterfly, LA Noire. Rockstar's LA Noire was something of a revolution for the company, serving as the first time a Rockstar-developed game put you on the right side of the law. I mean, think about it. In Red Dead Redemption, you are literally an outlaw, in Bully you commit a range of petty crimes, and Grand Theft Auto kind of speaks for itself. LA Noire sees the player taking control of Detective Cole Phelps, and it's his role in the Golden Butterfly homicide case that really hammers home the horrifying. In this mission, player is tasked with determining the murderer of Deirdre Moller. The evidence seems to suggest that Deirdre's husband Hugo was responsible for the killing, but noted paedophile Eli Rooney is also a person of interest. The player is forced to decide between following the evidence and leaving the deceased daughter an orphan, or charging Rooney, who is likely innocent but unquestionably a danger to society. Either one leaving you with a horrible outcome that is entirely the repercussion of your own choice making. Talk about a rock and a hard place. 7. Ritual Sacrifice, God of War. Kratos has come a long way in the most recent installment of God of War, learning from the ferocious aggression of his past and turning himself into a reflective father. However, the old days are still ripe for revisiting should you stick one of those old discs in. And oh boy, does the fella get up to some sickly stuff. Aside from the whole murder binge angle, there is one moment where the game gives you full agency and responsibility that really gets the guilt flowing, and that is the ritual sacrifice you're complicit in completing to get to the next stages. Having to pull down a pleading soldier in his cage and incinerate him, players were so taken aback by the horrible, compulsory sequence that the human was turned into a zombie for various regions so as to take away some of the questionable ethics involved. If you completed the version which had a poor begging man in though, geez, you really are a monster. 6. Full evil ending. Infamous Second Son. The third title in the critically acclaimed Infamous series, Infamous Second Son sees the player take control of Deslin Row as you utilise your superpowers in a fictionalised version of Seattle. Much like Second Son's predecessors, the game employs a series of ethical dilemmas for the player to choose from to determine whether Row will veer towards good or evil, meaning the full extent of the game's story cannot be accessed without playing through on both karmic paths. However, if the player chooses to undertake the story as a ne'er-do-well, their actions never get quite as wicked as in the game's climax. After Deslin has used his powers for evil and taken control of the city, Betty, a kind of surrogate mother to the protagonist, confronts him and banishes him from the tribe. Row's heinous crimes aren't done yet though, as after receiving an earful from the Elder, he leaves the building only to perform an orbital drop, killing the innocent woman and eviscerating all around him. That's what you get for making evil choices. An evil scene. Well done, guys. 5. The ending. A Way Out. A Way Out is an action-adventure game that harks back to the good old days of split-screen couch multiplayer, where the biggest decision to be made was who got to use the official controller and who was shackled with the Mad Catz gamepad. The game sees the two players take control of Vincent and Leo, two convicts who meet in prison. The pair escape together and have to stay on the run from the authorities, at least until Chapter 5 when, spoiler alert, the two men turn on one another and have to fight for survival alone. Unfortunately, there is no special ending where all of the playable characters can make it out of the story unscathed, meaning one of the fugitives has to die. In the final part of the game, both players scramble to grab a gun and are forced to kill the other. And not only that, but they then have to inform the other's loved ones about their passing. How does that repeated button mash competition feel now, hey? Not so fun anymore. Look your friend in the eye and see what you've done to them. 4. Boethia Calling. Skyrim. Bethesda has proven between the Fallout and Elder Scrolls series that they are not averse to including some pretty testing ethical dilemmas in their games, allowing the player the agency to decide how exactly their character would react considering the circumstances they're faced with. 2011's Skyrim is full of these difficult decisions, though perhaps none as ethically challenging as that of Boethia's Calling. Here, the Dragonborn must lure an unwitting NPC to the Pillar of Sacrifice. As you can probably imagine, anyone being led to the Pillar of Sacrifice likely doesn't have anything good in store for them. The difficult decision on the player is deciding who they want to forsake in order to further their progression in the game. The story is kind of like the Binding of Isaac in the Bible, only this time the sacrifice has to be completed in order to ensure a meeting with the supernatural. Skyrim's extensive dialogue can make companions really feel like likeable characters with their own aims and motivations, so killing one just to further the player's progression is a pretty villainous act. 3. Little Sisters. Bioshock. One of the most taxing moral quandaries that the player is forced to deal with in gaming is that of the Little Sisters. Little Sisters exist in the lawless land of Rapture, created as the result of the abuse of Adam in a world not constrained by the concept of ethics. Little Sisters were once human children, but have been implanted with sea slugs for the purpose of making the production of the substance more effective. The Little Sisters are accompanied by their technologically enhanced slave masters, Big Daddies. Once the player defeats a Big Daddy, they have to decide whether they should destroy the sea slug and rescue the little girl, or harvest the slug to take all of the precious Adam for themselves. The dilemma is compounded by the fact that it's at odds with conventional gaming logic, which is to always improve your character. Is it morally right to murder children to make yourself stronger? No, but for some, the juice is worth the squeeze. 2. Vault 34. Fallout New Vegas. In the Fallout universe, few quests embody the whole shades of grey concept quite as well as in Vault 34. As longtime fans of the series will know, the Vault's intended to continue human civilization after a nuclear war, but actually little more than human science experiments carried out by Vault Tech. Vault 34 is no different, and by the time the courier arrives, much of the Vault is completely irradiated and infested with feral ghouls. The courier is tasked with shutting down 34's reactor in order to benefit NCR crops that have been failing due to radiation emitting from the Vault. However, upon reaching the terminal, the player finds out that some Vault inhabitants are still alive further into the structure, and turning off the reactor will certainly kill them. This leaves the player having to decide between the needs of the many and the few in a video game version of the trolley problem, with suffering guaranteed regardless of what path is taken. Want to be responsible for death or more death? Up to you, player. The horrifying result is all yours. 1. EXP. Undertale. Undertale is an indie game that sees you take control of someone who is attempting to make their way back to Earth after falling into the underground, meeting various monsters on their journey back to normality in a lovely chiptune adventure. So what makes Undertale, a seemingly pretty innocuous game, worthy of a place on this list? Well, that would be because of its EXP. Sounds pretty normal for this type of game, right? But those are not experience points. With gamers generally conditioned into collecting EXP to level up, Undertale flips that on its head by revealing that EXP is an entirely distinct stat referring instead to execution points, subconsciously guiding the player away from the pacifist route and turning you into a murderous horror along the way. You might not realise it, but you are responsible for gathering up execution and heightening the level of violence with every perfectly normal monster battle you come out victorious in. The realisation is a gut punch, to say the least.
And that's our list. Thank you for joining me on this week's episode of House of the Wed, and I hope you're very proud of yourself for all of these wretched decisions that you are very much responsible for. I'm not proud of you. I'm not proud of you at all. This is horrible, so don't do it again. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, sacrifice your firstborn child to the overlords of WhatCulture, and come back again soon for some more lovely horror content every Wednesday, first on the main channel and then over here on gaming straight afterwards. Wednesday at 3, lovely little a twofer deal. I hope to see you then. Thanks for watching.